I believe it's in multiple spots, but it's just coming in now. During that commercial break, we were alerted to it. I'm just trying to follow through some of the lines here. Now, remember, he was supposed to speak at 1:25. We mentioned this earlier. Here's Schefter. You see him, there on, like we said, with the post on social media. Brian Daboll out as the head coach of the New York Giants.
Yeah, and it's the humane thing to do at this point. Others have it. Ian Rappaport. I'm looking at Jordan Schultz. I'm seeing others. Obviously, now it is obviously clearly done. 20, 40, and 1 as the Giants head coach, and one playoff win, 3+ years, a multitude of ugly, really inescapable in terms of the perception around you or the narrative around you. Fourth quarter collapses, and I think that this is absolutely the right move, because you're still not salvaging a season, because there's nothing that you can salvage here in terms of wins and losses like a playoff berth, but you've got to at least have a direction and a healthy building. And the tone would have been, every time Brian Daboll was at a microphone, it would have been about him and his job security and the quarterback and all these other things that take away from the overall growth of the other guys on the team. It gives you a jump start on the search for trying to finally end this merry-go-round of nothingness for the Giants. And from a human perspective, we all feel bad. I think Brian Daboll's a good dude who tried his best. I think he's an easy guy to have a beer with, but in terms of being the head coach of the Giants, it simply did not work.
I do feel bad, but this had to happen. It's not anybody's fault. We didn't get him fired. His record got him fired. Just wasn't good enough. End of story. Bottom line. Now, you spin it forward. Okay, do we know who's taking over yet? I'm trying to find this out here. Schefter, the Giants' interim head coach, will be their 6th head coach since 2016. McAdoofus, Spagnuolo, Shermer, Joe Judge, Brian Daboll. So obviously going to be another guy. And then next year, I'm assuming it's going to be Kafka. I would like to have seen Bowen out with Daboll as well. And then eventually I want to see Joe Schoen out. And that would at least show me that the Giants are headed in the right direction. But this had to happen. It had to happen now. You can't overcome another loss like that. Daboll knew it. He was on thin ice to begin with. They blow that fourth quarter lead yet again. It's the 4th time they've done that on the road with a 10-point lead. The 3rd time that they've done it in horrific fashion, whether it be Dallas, Denver, and now Chicago. It can't happen. They had to move on here. And now it begins, BT. Now there is no more Dart Daboll. That is officially over.
It is, and rightfully so. But, I mean, really, what a disgrace that Bowen still has a job.
Well, for now, we don't know. Maybe they're going to – we got to take it if it's live. Hoff, I'm sure Hoff is working on trying to figure out what they're going to do here.
Yeah, true. Maybe they will announce – maybe you announce Daboll first, and then maybe Bowen obviously filters in throughout the day or trickles in at some point today. But if Shane Bowen is coaching this team against Green Bay – and Brian Daboll's been shown the door. That's disgraceful. But we'll just
maybe Bowen will be the interim.
Oh, there's no way in hell that's going to be Kafka.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah, but listen, the other thing too is, and I can't prove this, but I feel like maybe, and I wouldn't agree with this, but I'm thinking from the Giants' perspective, like if they had a road game coming up rather than hosting Green Bay coming up this weekend, maybe they kick it down the road one more week. But you cannot have that energy, because think about if Brian Daboll's coaching at 1 o'clock against the Packers this Sunday. Here come the planes. Here's 30,000 Packer fans. Dart's. You would think that Dart's not going to play based on the concussion. So you just it doesn't solve anything immediately. I think it prevents it from making it worse optically. That would have been such an ugly sound and an ugly sight at MetLife. So you had to do it, and now you get a jump start, and now you've got to find basically a miracle worker, because the Giants, this is one big steep hill, bro. This is not going to be easy.
We all knew it yesterday watching that game, but it doesn't make it any easier thinking about here we are yet again 4 years later. The guy was he was a coach of the year in his first year. Coach of the year, first year. Took Daniel Jones to the postseason with a limited roster, and that's putting it mildly. Won a road playoff game and just could never get it turned around after that. Could never get it back on track. Bad year 2, worse year 3. This was supposed to be the definitive year, and here we are again through 10 games. Somehow, inexplicably, even with a young rookie quarterback that shows great promise, still 2-8. It had to be done, but It just sucks that we're here yet again.
It's brutal. Yeah, I feel terribly for Giant fans. I don't know that the Giants would explore this. I would encourage them to maybe do this. Now, you'd have to find the right person. Remember, Mike Vrabel, before Mike Vrabel went to coach the Pats, didn't he jump in to the Browns as like an advisory role?
Yeah.
I don't know who that person would be. And listen, the timing sometimes just doesn't work out where there's somebody that you truly value that you would want to bring in because, but if you can, and I don't know, maybe it is Belichick maybe the Giants have no interest in hiring Bill Belichick to be their coach, but they bring him in as that wise sage Yoda. Hey, look at the Jedi. Look
like
at
Parcells with the Dolphins.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Hopefully it goes better now. But so along the lines of that thought process, look at our roster, look at the way we function, look at our building, get a sense of what's what, help us get this thing up, and running. And not only do you get a jump start on, having conversations about who you want to hire, ultimately he's the coach, but you also get a little bit of a jump start on cleaning this mess up internally because there's a lot of football to go. This is not 2 games left.
Yeah.
It's talking 2 months of football.
I know, but the games are irrelevant with 7 games.
I know they are, but it's not irrelevant what happens on the practice field, in the meeting rooms, and in the building day to day. They're going to be going to work for 2 more months.
Yeah, but it's going to be a whole new, I hope a whole new regime. See, that to me brings the next part of this. Okay, now that Daboll had to go today, and he did, and the Giants did the right thing, no question about it. If anything, they gave him more than enough time to get this thing turned around. More than enough time. They were extremely patient. They left this was it. You have more new? Go ahead, Hop. What'd you just say in my ear?
Yeah, Giants OC Mike Kafka will be the interim head coach per source.
Okay, I mean, no surprise there. Now, is anybody speaking at 125 still?
Have not been told yet.
Okay, we got to figure that out, and then hopefully it happens during our show. We could take it, or if not, whatever. Evan and Tiki get the sound of it, but obviously breaking news, Brian Daboll out, Kafka going to take over here. So then it begs the question, okay, what are you going to do with the defense? Maybe that's less important. For me, this means nothing unless it means Joe Schoen is showing the door as well.
He'll be next. He'll be next.
Say that
I believe that. I believe that. I believe he'll be next. But until they do it, I mean, I don't really know.
I'm not saying I need to do it now. I said last week, why delay the inevitable? Let's just rip the Band-Aid off and move on now. Do I need that to happen? It's kind of irrelevant. He's done all he could do. They didn't let him make any moves at the deadline. So there's nothing he's going to do that's going to impact the team any way, shape, or form now or the future. I guess the longer it goes with him still employed, the more concern I have that they aren't going to clean house totally.
Yeah, I do hear you. Trust me, I do. But to me, it's more clerical. That's the way I describe it. Like at this point, I'm not saying there's no roster moves that are going to have. You'll pick this guy up on waivers or promote that guy from the practice squad. But there's really nothing substantial that's going to happen from now until the end of the season because the trade deadline is over. Now, if you want to see this, what's going to be interesting. The Jets made the mistake years ago where they let McCagnon draft, and then they fired him right after the draft here.
Yeah.
So
how dumb can you be?
Yeah, that's about as idiotic as it gets here. So, and I don't think that the Giants would take the same page from that idiocy. But what they've got to have consistency here because they are very deep into their scouting. Like I know the Jets have already watched Mendoza play quarterback in person 4 games, and the Giants might not be scouting a quarterback, but they're certainly scouting a lot of players. So you still want some continuity in terms of the preparation for the draft and the offseason. Again, Daboll had to go during the season, in my opinion. Less concerned about Shane when he goes, as long as he does, which I think he will at the end of the... Now, if he doesn't, that's a different discussion, and I'll get on the Giants, but I don't need him gone today. I think you had to start with Daboll.
I also wonder how much of this decision was based off the fact that Dart got hurt. Again, for me, it would not have been the case, because I know there's a lot of thought, well, he got Dart hurt, blah, blah. To me, it's separate. It's everything else. It's his 4 years in its entirety, specifically the last 3, and just the inability to show that he knows how to win games.
Yeah.
You have leads. That's a good thing. Getting leads are good. It's a good thing. And the Giants haven't had enough of them. Then you got to hold on to the leads. You've got to be able to preserve at least some of them. And he just couldn't do it time and time again. And maybe his fate was sealed prior with the Denver game, but maybe it was sealed on that decision to kick a field goal and go up 2 scores as opposed to being aggressive. And it just shows you, when you're insecure or not firm in your standing, maybe you're going to make some decisions that you normally wouldn't make, trying to hang on and see. And obviously, it was the wrong decision. Kicking the field goal, taking the points, still blowing the game. It just too much here. So the Giants did the right thing moving on from
They did. So we just got the Kafka stuff from Hoff there. I still need an answer on Shane Bowen because the more I think about this is patently offensive that this man has a job and Daboll doesn't. Shane Bowen's still employed.
Yeah.
Let that resonate for a second. This guy still has a job. Bowen, the coordinator.
Well, for now, I mean, again, we still don't know.
What the hell are they waiting for? I mean, if you fire Dave, that's why I say stuff is trickling in, and we might get it in 10 minutes, whatever. But Bowen's got to be gone by today. He can't be back out there. How unfair is that?
I agree. Let me just ask you, and this may be semantics here. We knew clearly Kafka could transition and take over. He's a guy that's interviewed many times before for a head coaching job. Not that he could do the job, but at least he's been coaching
easier
long
transition.
Enough. He's been doing it long enough as an OC where it's going to be an easier transition. Is it just as simple as, well, if they move on from Bowen, we have nobody that'll really even come up with a game plan the rest of the way?
If that's the case, then their staff is even worse than I thought. Because, think about this.
Well, the guy who's running the show just got fired, and the guy who's running the defense should have been fired 10 weeks ago.
I just think the optics are awful. I just think, patently offensive. Like, if I'm Daboll, I'm like, what? You keeping him? That doesn't really matter. Daboll's gone. But if there's nobody in the building that could at least piece together a game plan that makes some sort of sense, then their staff is worse than I thought. Somebody's got to be capable of doing. That's not the reason you keep Bowen around. And if so, then the Giants are in worse shape than we think.
Does Wink Martindale have a social media? Because somewhere he's.
Think he's going to pop in, take a little celebratory lap?
Oh, yeah.
I hope he doesn't.
Probably takes him. Yeah, well, come on, that's what he is, though. Wink Martindale.
Yeah, I would hope. Yeah, I think I know. Well, he's done some of that, yes, but I would like to think that, when now that Daboll's actually gone, I would hope that sensitivity would win out. Like, he's gotten his shots in a little bit because he was gone and Daboll wasn't. Hopefully he takes the high road. But, yeah, I mean, you're right. Wink likes taking those shots. I wouldn't do it. Yeah. I think it's low class and low brow, but
and maybe
he's done that before.
I'm just saying it. I'd be curious to see what I feel like there's going to be some kind of comment coming. And it made me think of it because if he were here, you could argue he would have taken over as head coach, and maybe that's an opportunity that he won. Anyway, he's not here. Neither is Brian Daboll. BT and Sal on the Fan. We'll take a quick break.